Chinese Communist Party officials have been lying to party leader Xi Jinping. Was it a Feng Shui assault? Welcome to China Uncensored, I'm Chris Chappell. Things are not looking good for Chinese leader Xi Jinping. As you know if you've been watching my favorite soap opera, General Hostility, Xi Jinping has been locked in a constant power struggle with rival Communist Party officials tied to former Chinese leader Jiang Zemin. Xi has managed to purge more than 1 million officials as part of an anti-corruption campaign, although that was mostly a cover for purging officials from Jiang's faction. But the great thing about calling it an anti-corruption campaign is that it's technically true. Since pretty much everyone in the Chinese Communist Party is corrupt, you can purge your enemies and still say, with total accuracy, you got rid of corrupt officials. And a new wave of purges is beginning. I wonder what party officials think when they're told to turn the blade inwards and scrape the poison off the bone. They're probably thinking about the best way to turn the blade on someone else instead. But as I said, things aren't going well for Xi. There's widespread dissatisfaction with him in the Communist Party. I mean, what's the point of being in the Communist Party if you can't get rich? In June, a Communist Party insider was caught on record saying Xi Jinping had turned the party into a political zombie. Don't worry, she's been kicked out of the party. Plus, she lives in the US, so it's harder to turn the blade on her. But now, newly leaked documents show that at least some Communist Party officials have actively ignored Xi Jinping's orders, hence the purges.
A leaked internal CCP report was obtained by the Epoch Times, and it shows that party leader Xi Jinping was lied to by close to 100 officials in his orders to destroy the illegal villas in the Qinling mountains in Shanxi.
Lying to the dear leader? That's not good. But this is actually a way bigger defiance than simply ignoring Xi's orders. You see, the Chinese Communist Party is officially atheist. Officials are required to be atheists. Xi Jinping has reminded everyone that they must be unyielding Marxist atheists. And I know this may surprise you, but sometimes Communist Party officials can be hypocrites. Xi Jinping personally is known for practicing some Buddhist and Taoist spiritual beliefs, like Feng Shui, even though other party members aren't allowed to. What does that have to do with the Qinling mountains in Shanxi province? Well, in the old days, these mountains were called the Dragon Veine, a Feng Shui term. According to Chinoscope, it can impact the prosperity of the current ruler. Damages to or suppression of the Dragon Veine can hurt the ruler. So Xi was not too happy that local officials have illegally built luxury villas near the mountains and profited from them, almost as if that was a personal attack on him by messing up the Feng Shui that he doesn't believe in. Officially, Xi blamed the illegal villas for damaging the environment. But despite Xi having given instructions 6 times to demolish those illegal buildings, the local officials took no action. That is until 2018. That's when Xi Jinping sent Xu Lingyi, Deputy Secretary of the CCP's Central Commission on Disciplinary Inspection, to Shanxi to have a talk with those officials over those villas near the Qinling mountains. That resulted in a lot of officials being taken down in a political purge. Most recently, the Communist Party head of Shanxi province, Zhao Zhengyong, was given a suspended death sentence for graft. Wow, what a surprise. Somehow I don't think anyone is going to try to damage Xi's Dragon Veine anymore. The timing is pretty interesting here, because this problem has been going on for years. In fact, Xi Jinping started bringing up the villas in the Qinling mountains back in 2014, and it was supposedly resolved last year, when the villas were demolished and Zhao was purged. So why is this coming up now? Were these documents leaked to remind party officials not to cross Xi, or were they leaked to embarrass him? All I know is this season of General Hostility is going to be must-see TV. And now it's time for me to answer a question from a China Uncensored supporter on Patreon. Bob Kyle asks, if Biden is elected in the US, How much can he or his administration do to help the CCP and China instead of push it back, like Trump and his administration? Good question, Bob. So the Trump administration has done a lot to push back against China, certainly more than the Bush, Clinton, Bush II, and Obama administrations did. But it also is increasingly clear that the Chinese Communist Party is a security and economic threat to the U.S. So it's not just Trump who's concerned. A lot of pushback against the CCP in the last couple of years has been bipartisan, like the Hong Kong Human Rights and Democracy Act of 2019 and the Uyghur Human Rights Policy Act of 2020. But Joe Biden has said he doesn't like the way Trump has handled China. In early August, an NPR reporter asked Biden whether he'd keep Trump's tariffs. This was his response.
No, here's the deal. The question is, what is the appropriate behavior that they have to engage in international trade with us? And they have to play by the international rules. And what we have done is we have disarmed ourselves. We make up 25% of the world's economy, but we poked our finger in the eye of all of our allies out there. The way China will respond is when we gather the rest of the world that in fact believes in open trade and making sure that we're in a position that the world that we deal with WHO the right way. That in fact that's when things begin to change. That's when China's behavior is going to change.
Okay. So what does that mean in terms of Biden's actual policy? It sounds like he wants to work with allies to change China's behavior, which is good if your allies want to change China's behavior. Not all of them do. At least China is a major campaign issue, so people are talking about it. Thanks for your question, Bob. Be like Bob and support China Uncensored with $1 or more per episode. It's critically important to help us keep the show going. And you'll get some cool perks too, like me answering your questions on the show. Visit patreon.com/China Uncensored to learn more. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. See you next time.